Hey everyone, welcome to Chain Out Podcast. I'm Jeremy, and with me, as always, is your favorite co-host, Darryl. How you doing, buddy?
As always, I'm doing fantastic, Jeremy. How are you doing?
Oh, excited, pumped, ready for another awesome episode tonight. We got three awesome guests coming our way. Just excited. And I hear you had a really good day today. You had finally a nice windy or windless round of
Windless.
disc golf, hey?
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the Hills Anytime League, so anytime there's a podcast day, I'm always out at the Hills. Shot a -7, which is
Whew!
it's pretty good for that course. It's not
Minus
it's not
seven.
blistering. Yeah, -7, bogey free.
Thomas
Yeah.
Gilbert over there? What's going on?
Is that foreshadowing, Jeremy?
Never hanging the lead out there.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
No. Good day for disco for me, and then get to come home and set up for a podcast and interview three amazing people. So yeah.
it's our two favorite things, disc golfing
Yeah.
and talking about disc golfing.
There you go.
Well, why don't we get right
Okay.
into it, Darryl? Let everybody know
Yeah.
what we got coming up on this episode. So tonight we have our Canadian A tier fantasy picks pool that we've been doing is well underway. We're into the second tournament, which is the Tournament Capital Open, TCO.
Yeah.
It's now in the books. We're going to let you know how we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the big bulk of this episode is all going to be about that Tournament Capital Open recap.
And with that, we're going to have our first guest, Carrie Neal, the tournament director of TCO.
Yeah. And then after that, coming up later, we will have the FPO winner, Julie Moens. She'll be joining us. So can't wait for that.
And you can't have one winner without the other one. So we've also got, for the second time, MPO winner Thomas Gilbert.
Yeah, absolutely. Stick around with us after the interviews, and we will recap a couple of tournaments that we did this weekend.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we'll also, last week we talked about Discape discs, but we have a different disc that we were given that we're going to talk about.
Ooh, yeah. And of course, it wouldn't be a Chain Out podcast episode unless we gave you a number one Edgar tag update. So stay tuned for that.
And then finally, we'll wrap up the episode, as always, with a look at what our Canadian pros who are on the DGPT, what they're up to this week, so you can follow them as well.
Yeah.
But Darryl, why don't we jump into the fantasy picks there?
Quick update on the fantasy picks. So, like you said, it was TCO last weekend, second day tier of the season. And as we did mention before, I didn't mention it on the episode, but we did kind of put it on the Instagram post. Is that the fantasy, for people that don't know, the fantasy episodes are sponsored by BR Disc Golf. We have a sponsor. Yeah, we're happy with that. The way that it works is for the points totals. If somebody, the winner, if the winner gets over 10 points, we will be giving away a $10 gift card to BR Disc Golf. If the winner gets over 15 points, they'll be getting a $15 gift card courtesy of BR Disc Golf. And then, in that rare occasion, I haven't cleared it with Brendan, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it. If anyone gets over 20 points, the maximum you can get is 22. So it'd have to be a pretty hot week. If you can get over 20 points, I'm sure Brendan will give you a $20 gift card to BR Disc Golf. But let's get to the let's recap our fantasy episode. So we did post our picks online on Instagram and on the YouTube channel as well. These were the teams. You had a chance to vote. People did vote. But as you can see there, Mark guessed Team Tree Love, took the win down with 14 points. He had two winners. And that was really his big points totals there. He picked Thomas and Julie, both taking 5 points. I came in second with 9 points. Team J Powell bringing up the rear again with 8 points.
Well, you know what, though? I was 1 point more than last tournament. And on top of that, when I look across that board, we had so many great players there. It was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing that we love about this, right? Is that every team is a good team. It's just it depends how it goes on that weekend, right?
Definitely.
So looking at the tournament standings, obviously that leaves Team Shambles with the first win. And now Team Guest has the second win. Team J Pal
Looky,
still bringing up.
looky. I don't hear you. Don't hear as much excitement in your voice this week, Daryl.
Well, I didn't win this week. So now that we're actually 2 weeks deep, let's bring up the points totals. So with the amount of points that we had last week added to this week, you can now see Team Guest Invite is actually taking the lead with 26 points. I'm in second with 22 points. And Jeremy's bringing up the rear again with 15.
Oh, you
And
just
there
wait.
we have it on the screen there for the BR Disc Golf.
Yes. You just wait, Daryl. We've still got 7 more tournaments to go. I got a lot of time to make up some ground.
Yeah, you can do it. And it's still pretty things are pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like we mentioned on Instagram, we put pinned post on Instagram with the teams. And there's a little vote button at the bottom of the comments, or just above the comments, bottom of the description. Click on that, and you'll be able to vote for which team you want to win. So we did that this week. We had 10 votes. And Team Shambles took down the win again. It was close. It was nip and tuck right up until the end. I put out a tweet. I put out a post on Instagram 1 hour before I was going to close the voting. And Team Shambles was in last place. And it was tied between you and Team Tree Love.
Yes.
But I think, thankfully, Gabby Lee, who I picked number 1 overall, reposted it on her Instagram. So I think she voted for me, and then somebody else voted for me. So then I ended up taking down the win on the fan vote. So
nice.
Fan vote only comes into play if it's tied on points and tournament wins. Yeah. So there you go. That's the wrap up of the TCO. I don't know if we mentioned, but Mark Thompson, go back and watch last episode 2 of the fantasy show. Mark Thompson was the special guest. He nicknamed himself Team Tree Love, and I think anyone who's played with Mark can testify that that's a very fitting name. So yeah, go back and watch that one. Next up, we don't have to wait too long for the next fantasy episode. That's BC Open, and that's right around the corner.
Yeah, and we're going to have another special guest for you on that episode. Somebody out of the Calgary area is what I will say, who's going to help join us to do the BC Open picks. But also, Daryl, so then if Team Tree Love got 14 points this week, and we now have a sponsor, that means we have a $10 gift card.
We do. We have a $10 gift card to give away. So because we were still in the organization process of how this is all going to go, what we've decided for this episode, for the TCO, we're just going to pick someone from our YouTube subscribers, someone from our Instagram followers. We're going to do it random. We're going to give away a $10 gift card to any one of our followers. But going forward, so make sure you listen, you'll only be eligible for the gift card if you follow, if you vote on the Instagram post, or if you leave a comment on the fantasy episode on YouTube.
Yes,
that's how we're going to again because I messed it up. You're only eligible to vote. No, you can vote anytime you want. You're only eligible to win if you vote on the Instagram or you leave a comment on the fantasy episode of the YouTube channel episode.
And then the last thing we should do is we should say, again, thanks to BR Disc Golf, and Brendan let us know that because BR's way down in Camrose, well, not way down, they're like less than an hour way down in Camrose. But if you wanted to buy some stuff online, he's got $5 shipping for you. And then your purchase will be brought up to the Rundle League on Thursdays, and you can pick it up there for a small $5 delivery fee that I'm sure is mostly going to the person delivering it for you.
Go see Terry Hong. If you know Terry Hong, if you don't follow her on Instagram, Heiserbomb Hong. We've had her on the show before, so you should know what she looks like.
You should know her song by now too, I would hope as well.
Okay, we don't need to go through that again.
No, we do not.
But yes, if you do decide to buy something online, get it shipped up for $5. Very good deal.
Definitely. Well, let's get to our first guest, Daryl.
Let's get to it.
Okay, so our first guest is the tournament director of the Tournament Capital Open, otherwise known as TCO. She's been a PDGA member since 2002. She's a legend in the Canadian disc golf world. Her work with women's disc golf has been amazing. We are happy to welcome Carrie Neal to the show. Hello, Carrie.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we can
can.
hear you.
Okay. I'm just getting my voice back, so
I was
if
just
it's all
gonna say that.
crackly,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. I talked myself into laryngitis over the weekend, so
Oh no, I
Were
can
there a
imagine.
couple?
Yeah, I can imagine this is not stressful, or maybe it is stressful for you, but you've got a lot of
no.
talking to do and a lot of other things to be thinking about, right?
And I apologize for the paint. I'm trying to decide what color to paint my wall.
Oh,
So
I
I'm
do.
That's
sorry.
awesome.
I do like both there. That's for sure.
That's
And
nice,
I,
hey?
yeah, I'm gonna wonder, was
So
that laryngitis, that laryngitis also coming into play just due to these wonderful announcements you might have been doing off at T1? Did you do anything like that at the tournament over
I
the
didn't
weekend?
do any of that. That was all Chad Smoliak and Justin DeVries. I did from Wednesday afternoon, I did check in, and then Thursday, I did check in. So I talked Wednesday, probably 8 hours. Thursday was about a 14-hour day, 16 and a half hour day on Friday, being at Tournament Central, talking to everybody. And then Saturday was only about a 12 or 13-hour
Only.
Oh,
day.
that's all.
That's all. And then
Yeah,
allergies too. Like there's all kinds of stuff in the air. So
right.
yeah, by Saturday night, I had like almost no voice. So it's all
So
good.
Well,
when you
I've
don't have a voice like that, is there a wine that kind of helps to take care of that? Is that a Shiraz thing you do, or is that more of
Yeah,
a?
more like a crisp Pinot Gris, nice and fresh and cold.
well, that's a perfect lead in, Jeremy, because last time you were on the show, I had a beer and I said, "Oh, I was going to grab a wine, and I should have grabbed a wine." But
Yes,
today, courtesy of you, we've got
discs and
discs and
wine.
wine. There you go.
Amazing. And I have nothing. I came in from the garden in time to plug in, and like I had to wipe the dirt off my shirt. I'm sorry. I
Oh
forgot it
no.
was video too. I was like, oh man. So yeah, I'm
Well,
sorry.
that's the thing, is not only are we introducing everyone to people with the in the Canadian disc golf world, we want them to be able to see who they're talking to as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is me fresh from the garden. I typically look like this anyways, but sorry if there's dirt or anything on my face. But yeah,
Oh, no worries. So let's jump right into TCO because we've got you for
sure.
about 30 minutes before Julie comes
Sure.
on. So, first thing, let's let everyone know about the Tournament Capital Open, how long it's been around. This
Okay.
was the third year, was it?
Third. Yep.
Yeah.
Third year.
So, and
So it started because back in 2019, I guess, I was trying to host the Canadian Women's Disc Golf Championships, like kind of the same as the US Women's Disc Golf Championships. And I'd gotten permission from the PDGA after many years to run an event. And then COVID hit and I had to cancel it. And then we thought we'd try again in 2021.
Nope,
well,
we
Daryl,
lost her.
yes, we learned last time when we had Scott on that we were talking, yet it was still recording when Scott was on. So
Yeah,
I was a little hesitant there to jump in. So, yes, Daryl
I
and I
was
were patiently waiting for Carrie to come back through.
exactly because that's always the way. Is that whenever we think the guest is frozen up, then we kind of jump in and we kind of like talk over the guest, and then they reconnect and everything is fine.
Yes.
So there's always that little bit of, okay, we're just going to leave it because we know that in the end, once our software does its thing and we upload it to YouTube, it'll be fine and everything will come out crystal clear and everything will be hunky dory. This time didn't work out that way. Hopefully,
No, it
Carrie,
did not.
just put it in the chat here.
Well, the other thing too, what we can say is, so yeah, this is the third year for the Tournament Capital Open.
Yeah.
It is an A-tier tournament, one of the 9 in Canada. And this year it was the second A-tier. Last year it was the first one.
Yeah.
and had a lot of players register this one. Maybe it wasn't quite as full, I think, when we talked to Carrie as it was going to be, but
Yep.
there was, from when I checked on Disc Golf Scene, there was 274 people registered. So that's still
Yeah,
a pretty big tournament.
that's a awesome turnout. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Because usually when you see a tournament, if you have a full card on each hole, you're going to have 72 players. And if you've
Right.
got two courses, then you're at 144. So
Mm-hmm.
they're at 274 and they were playing it over two courses. So then that's automatically you're going to be having, there's no shotgun start with something like that. You're having scheduled tee times
No,
and rolling
exactly.
tee times.
Yeah.
And yeah. And last year when I did go to TCO, that was the first time I was actually ever in a rolling start as opposed to a shotgun. And it's
Right.
pretty good. And we had that happen to us out at Spring Runoff in Lethbridge as well.
Yeah.
And there's goods and bads about it,
I was
right?
just going to say the same thing. There's goods and bads to it. It's good because you're scheduled at a certain time. You know, you've got time to prepare, but also it leaves you with a lot of time on your hands, and certain people don't know what to do with that time, and they walk around and they get frustrated and they get agitated because they're pumped up and they want to get out and throw. Other people can just relax and sit down and not make anything of it. But let's bring Carrie back in, and hopefully we can keep connection.
I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't know.
No. As we were saying there, last week when we were interviewing Scott, we had a bad connection with Scott Stokely. And afterwards, when we went back and looked at all the video in YouTube and Riverside, it ended up everything was fine and we had the full episode. But for the live version, we knew that we just had to wait. Sometimes you can reconnect and everything will be fine and the videos will all sync back up again. But unfortunately, yeah, we were just left staring at your face and eventually you dropped off. But you're back now. So
and my paint colors.
Yes.
Give you time to think about them.
That's right. I think I like the bluey green.
Okay.
I think I like the blue
Okay.
as well. But I mean,
Okay.
that's our opinion. So.
Awesome. Like I was saying, I got the permission from the PDGA based on our club's reputation and my reputation as a tournament director. And the Tournament Capital Open was born. And it was an A tier and people were hungry for disc golf. And they came. I think we had just over 400, just around 400 participants that year, which was the biggest I'd ever seen in Western Canada. It was pretty fun. The biggest event I'd ever TD'd. And then, yeah, it was just people kept on saying, we'll see you next year. And I was like, I guess we're doing it again next year. And then, yeah, so now we finished our third iteration of it and still learning, still lots to learn, still lots to build on. But I think overall, from the feedback I've been getting the past couple of days was that people had a good time.
That's great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, over these 3 years, you've had some changes with the courses and such. And then this year you had two courses going. You had Mac Island and then you had Copper Ridge out at Logan Lake. And I got to play Copper Ridge last year, but from what I understand, there was a lot of big changes to the course this year for the tournament.
There was a lot of big changes, and we had, some setbacks with weather, not being able to work on the course, and of course, everything being volunteer based. People get sick, they have lives, so they were literally working on the course right up till Thursday afternoon of the event. So, yeah, lots of big changes. We've got a water carry hole now. The changes are pretty great. There were lots of great feedback about the course.
Well, with that one water carry that you mentioned, I saw some videos over the weekend on Instagram from it, and it reminded me a little bit of Maple Hill, where there's that one hole where you can either go right or you can throw it over the water, but it's immediately over the water. Is that kind of maybe what the designers had in mind?
Yes, I haven't played it yet. I haven't had a chance to go up there, but that was kind of the idea, is that from the front pad, it's I think I want to say like 180 feet to land, and then like 210 to the basket, I think. But you can bail out to the side if you want, if you're not confident. But yeah, it's just right there. It's just tasty, right? You just want to go for it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was neat. And then the other thing I noticed as well when I was looking at the feet per course and such, when I was looking at the MPO and the FPO, that you guys really made an effort to make sure that the MPO had a course and then the FPO had their own course as well.
Yeah, so it's really important to me that we listen, and when you listen to the Pro Tour, you listen to the FPOs, they don't want to play the MPO layout. So we had two pools because we had two courses, but inside that pool, that the A pool that the FPO and MPO are in, I think we had 2 or 3 layouts that were being played. So,
Right.
you know, they changed it up. I think the FPO played some blues and some reds. I'm not 100% sure. Whereas the MPOs played all blues, and I think the MA1s played all blues as well. So just depending on who they're going to be, I guess, propagated against for ratings, right? They don't want to play the exact same course as the men. So yeah, it's
No,
important.
exactly. That makes sense.
Hmm.
And then when we were looking back through the stats, we noticed that there were 4 MPO aces over the course of the weekend, no FPO aces. Do you know if there were any other aces in any other divisions?
There was. So there was the 4 aces from the MPO. 2 of them will be on live coverage on when it comes out. So that'll be super fun.
Awesome.
And then I want to say there was 8 aces altogether.
Wow.
We had an FA1 or FA2 player get an ace on Mac Island, but of the 8, only 6 paid in. So
Darryl,
Yeah.
you've got stories about that, don't you, Darryl?
Yeah,
Just
we,
about.
we were talking about that yesterday. Yeah, in a
Yeah.
tournament, Jeremy and I, well, at least me, I think Jeremy pays in, but
I always pay in.
I'm always of the opinion I'm not running aces in tournaments, and I don't know if anyone actually ever runs an ace. I think aces just happen. That, you know, the wind takes it, or it's a lucky throw. It's never, you know, a precision throw that you're aiming for
I
the
think
ace.
it is. Mac Island
think?
has some holes. Like I'm always trying to ace hole 11 at Mac Island and hole 16. I'm trying to lay my disc out there on the right angle and bring it back. I want the ace for sure.
I
Hole
guess it
4.
depends on your skill level, I guess.
But you know what? Luck comes into play sometimes too. I always pay because I got a tournament ace that I didn't pay into like 20 years ago, and I've
Right.
never not paid into the ace pot.
Never missed again.
Yeah.
Well, Allison Herman had chimed in here in the chat and said that MA1 and FA2 were some of the other aces.
Thank you, Allison. Yeah, she's our financial advisor, or not advisor, financial officer for the club, and she also sat on the board. So she's been doing all the payouts for us the past 2 days. So
So
she'll know.
she would well know. She was
Yeah.
handing out those
for sure.
checks or that
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Also, too, why don't you just give us a little bit, like, how did the weekend go overall? Were you pretty happy from a TD perspective? Did it go the way you were hoping for? And
You know, there's always things I feel I could have done better or our team could have done more of, but overall, I think it was really good. But the weather, we couldn't fix the weather. I actually had one person say like, "Oh, the weather sucks. You could have picked a different weekend." And it's like, we don't actually book it the weekend before. Like we booked this 10 months ago. But lots of rain, tons of wind. Logan Lake got some snow and hail, so that really sucked. Like being June, my heart kind of broke. And yeah, I think overall it was really good. You know, we had a little bit of an incident with the umbrellas we gave out in player packs, but we're remedying that. So, but I just lots of love and lots of really good feedback. We did change up how the tee times went, and you know, we kind of bucked the system of what's normal about having the MPO and FPOs go later in the day. But with Rose Hill and how technical, not Rose Hill, sorry, Copper Ridge, how technical it become, we decided to put the pros out first and the AMs after, so there wouldn't be any backup. And for me, on Sunday, on the very last card that came in, the FA1 card, I felt just personally as a tournament director, like there was this huge letdown. Like there was no crowds, there was no like celebrating that Thomas three-peated. You know what I mean? Like we did it obviously so we didn't create issues for the player experience.
Right.
But for just myself standing there all alone, my husband and I, and some people that knew people on the card, we were the ones that handed out the trophy to the FA1 winners. And, you know, they went to the parking lot and they drove away. Like there was nobody there. And that piece right there, that one sat with me probably the hardest. I know it didn't disappoint them, but it disappointed me because that's not how I want a tournament like that to come to an end. So lots to think about. And it's because we only had 2 courses and we had to try to figure out how to put all of these divisions on 2 courses. So lesson learned, we need 3 courses to make it work. And so the MPOs can have decent tee times and AMs can be there to watch them and the FPOs. So yeah, but other than that, I think it was good. We had great karaoke, trivia night. lots of
Nice.
visiting, lots of friends being made, people catching up with their cards afterwards. Yeah, just the vibe and the love and the community feel that I wanted to have was there for sure. And our team was amazing. There's like 12 of us, like a core team that worked the past 10 months to put this together. And it really wouldn't have been successful without all of their individual pieces coming to the table. So, I really wanted everybody at the table to bring something different. So there was total success. And I can't say enough about all the people that, and outside of our team that worked their butts off to make it happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. You say, everybody on your team is everyone's integral to the team to make
Absolutely.
it happen. But also you have all those other volunteers and everybody else that's working there to make it happen as well. Is there, there's probably too many to mention. Is there anybody that, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Off the top of my head, I'll shout out Brett Hanna in Logan Lake. Like
Yes.
he busted his ass to make Logan Lake happen. The spotters that came out, Monty Campbell, Matt Lefebvre, Toby, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name. These guys came out after their rounds. Toby has only been golfing for a while. He's not a PDGA member, and he got encouraged. He beat me to the course on Saturday morning or Sunday morning to spot. And he was there all day in the rain and snow. Like that stands out to me. Like obviously the people on my team as well. But when someone like Toby comes out eager and stays all day and is so excited when he comes into the clubhouse to turn in his flags, and he's like, oh my God, that was such great golf. And he was so excited to be watching it. Those are the volunteers that really stand out, and they'll come back. The DeVries family, Elizabeth and Justin, they were out last night picking up brooms and tee signs off. I completely forgot we even put brooms on the tee pads. Allison in the background, making sure everyone gets paid. Chad, my co-TD, and he took care of all the behind the scenes stuff, the tee times, the layouts, all that stuff. Who else? Troy, Darren, you guys killed it with the courses. Mac Island, Dylan Stinson, just silent, one of those silent volunteers moving baskets and making things happen. Thomas Griffin, the president of our club, my sanity sometimes. There's so many people. Like I'll definitely, I haven't even done my own write-up or anything yet on Facebook. So yeah, and everyone that just had any piece, tiny piece, like I said, it takes a village to make something like this happen. It's not just 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that we have you on as the TD because you're the name on disc golf scene, right? But
absolutely, yeah.
So many people that
are
involved to make this event happen. So yeah, huge congratulations to everybody that took part.
And that's kind of a key thing. I'll give a shout out to tournament directors. We sign our name to the finished product for the PDGA, and it's our name that gets mentioned in the good and in the bad. So surrounding yourself with great people, like you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I always tell everybody I got some pretty awesome people because they make me look really awesome. And I'm happy to sit here and be the face of our tournament. But I definitely want to share the gratitude and the love that I've been feeling with my team. So that's coming too. I usually have a wrap-up barbecue at my house with everybody. And I get to thank everybody as a team personally for their job and their hand in it. So something like this big isn't just me. It's way more than I could ever be. And I'm super grateful for those people in my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and Carrie, being at the tournament last year, I saw how well your team runs it and how amazing it was. I think as we talked about when you were on the show before, that was my second tournament ever, and it was an A tier and a really big one, and I enjoyed it. And what I would say to you is, if that people's biggest complaint is about the weather, then that's almost one of those things like you must be doing a good job, because that's the one thing that you cannot control. And we'll tell you, Darryl and I were down in Lethbridge for spring runoff. We got wind, we got rain, we got hail. We still had a great time, and we still made it through the tournament. So
awesome.
Now I did have another question here. We do have Julie coming on soon, so I have to wrap up before you know it. But one of them was, with the karaoke night, who's the best karaoke disc golfer?
Oh my God. He comes out of Calgary, I think Calgary, and his name is Cam.
Okay.
And he's the reason we had karaoke again this year, because he sang Rob Zombie's Dragula last year and like killed it. And this guy does like theater songs, Disney songs, heavy metal songs, but he brought the house down and blew the roof off last year. So people were like, "Oh my god, it was so much fun! Is camp coming back?" So yeah, he sang it again. He's the number one for sure. He
So
did a
you got a
great
little
job.
bit of a dark ace flavor to the tournament at the
Yeah,
karaoke part,
and a
hey?
little shout out to Luc Levesque, because Luc, I think he sang in French. He did
Oh.
a rap
Ooh.
or something. I was at the back of the room with setting up discs and stuff with Thomas, and I was like, "Who is that?" Yeah, it was Luc.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
another thing you were talking about the volunteers and that, and we want to bring up the fact that the last time we had you on, we were talking a lot about women's disc golf and supporting that, and you had brought up volunteering for tournaments, and we were kind of shocked and said, "Oh, we can volunteer," and we ended up helping Kristen with She's Up First. We had the best time ever.
Yeah.
I think
awesome.
I've had just as much fun volunteering at that tournament as I have at playing at other tournaments. So it was one of those things that we both wanted to thank you for encouraging us to do that. And we're definitely going to be doing it again.
My heart is so full because I had a player come to me and say, "I heard you on the Chain Out podcast, and I want you to know they took your words to heart." And she told me all about you guys at Kristen's event. And she was just so happy and so grateful for you guys. So thank you so much. And yeah,
Thank
you
you.
guys are setting a great example. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate that. I know Kristen does too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, like we've become so connected. This podcast has helped us with that for sure, is getting to know the players and connecting with them more. And it's such a wonderful community to be part of, and we're so happy that we
It
are.
is. It
Yeah.
is. We're so grateful to have a community like this. Like what I loved about the weekend was I saw people from that I've known from 24 years ago, and I saw people that I knew last year from this event, brand new faces, and everybody just is so happy to be there and share this one common thing, which is disc golf. Nobody cares what you do for a living. Nobody cares what you drive or how much money you make. It's about disc golf and the sport and the community. And that to me was really important to have that feel. And I think we're successful at TCO bringing that community feel all weekend.
Yeah. And we're excited because we know that Rose Hill is kind of got the tee pads in, everything's going on there. That course should be all set hopefully for next year. And then
I
Dick Hart
played it
might be
today.
ready too. Oh, you played it
Yeah.
today? And
I
is it
went out and
looking
played this
good?
morning. It's amazing. Like Rose Hill was my home course. It's where I learned to disc golf. It's where I learned everything about the sport outside of Pender Island, where I learned my touch shot and my putter throws. But I said to one of my friends today, I said, it stole my heart again. Like I'm in love again with Rose Hill. Like I'm so proud to say it's my home course. It is beautiful out there. It looks great. So yeah, very excited. We just got the signage to tighten up, and then going to start focusing on Dick Hart. And hopefully by the time we host the NADGT, which Elizabeth DeVries is tournament directing in October, that's at Dick Hart. We should have a good chunk of it wrapped up and ready to show off the new phase.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's exciting.
Well,
I can't wait to get you out there, Darryl.
exactly. I was just gonna say I've never been out there. I've never played it. So
Are you guys coming to Canadians? You
This
are.
guy is. Yeah.
Are you coming early?
I think I've taken some time off. I think we're going to be out on the Thursday, but I know it's only what, a 2-hour drive, is it? Or
From Kamloops to Clearwater is about an hour and 50. So, and Dick Hart is on the way.
oh, well, my driving partner is always trying to collect new courses, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be keen on driving and checking them out. And he's always trying to
Yeah.
beat me on the number of courses. So it's going to be kind of hard if I'm in the car with him, but you know.
Yes. Well, if you have time, Dick Hart will be looking good Canadians week. So yeah, it'd be fun to see you there.
Yeah, because you're going to be there as well, right?
I'm going to be at Canadians for sure. Yeah, I go up Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm doing a little event Wednesday night with the tournament director. So so I'll be up there on Wednesday.
That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's kind of what we got. Do you have any last things that you wanted to maybe shout out or talk about the tournament?
Sure.
Or
I'll just give a quick thanks to Dynamic Discs, City of Kamloops, Tourism Kamloops, the District of Logan Lake, and the PDGA, they all came to the table with great funding this year and huge support. And without specifically the city of Kamloops, I don't think we could do what we do and offer the extras that we do. So super grateful to have a great working relationship with the city.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, Carrie,
Yeah.
we love having you on the show, and we appreciate you giving us your time.
I just
Sure.
wanted to ask one question, because last
Yeah.
time we had you on, you mentioned that your new position was working with TopLink, and you
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
teased that was going to be in the player pack this year. Was everybody happy with their jerseys?
I think so. I didn't hear any negative comments about the jerseys. So yeah, all the
jerseys
amateur
always
players
good to
got
get in
jerseys.
the players pack. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got some. I don't know how I ended up with them, if I accidentally ordered them, but I got like junior smalls, like really itty bitty jerseys. So I gave them out to some of like the players' young children, and
awesome.
yeah. So I was like, here, will they wear them? So yeah, it's kind of fun. So yeah.
Perfect.
There is a second part to that, because Darryl has been toying with the idea of chain out jerseys. So maybe on the side, he'll be reaching out to you at some point. So
yeah, hit me up for sure. I'll give you DM me and I'll give you my email for work, and I'll send you all the deets.
We'll have our people call your people.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Well, thanks,
All
Carrie.
right.
I can't wait to see you at Nationals, and relax, get that glass of wine, let that voice kind of recover.
Oh yeah.
Or just get back out in the garden and carry on.
Yes. Before the rain hits again. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Perfect.
guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carrie.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So Darryl, Carrie's great. I love having her on the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that everything went, according to plan, as much as it could go according to plan. Everybody was happy, and the saying is you can't please everybody all of the time, but it sounds like she pleased quite a lot of people out there. And I think everybody, how could you not have a good time playing disc golf at two great courses?
Well, that's it. And I can even remember from last year as well, is they have a tournament central at Mac Island, which is a park on MacArthur Island. And
Right.
they have a kind of an old bar / restaurant that's more of just a multi-use space right now. So
Right.
when they have a tournament central, it's protected from the weather. They can have that karaoke in there. It's just everything about that tournament is set up for a great experience. So again, as she said, if people are complaining about the weather,
Yeah.
and the umbrellas, I'm like, I think you've done pretty good, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you said, we've got Julie waiting in the lobby here.
That's right.
We don't want to keep her waiting any longer. Should we bring her right in?
We should. Why don't I give a little bit of an intro for her?
Of course.
Our
You
next
wouldn't be a
guest.
guest if you didn't give them an intro.
That's true. Our next guest is the 2024 TCO Tournament Capital Open,
Sorry,
FPO Female Professional Open winner. She is $8.99 rated and hails from Victoria, BC. She's sponsored by Castaplast. She played in the Cascade Challenge Q Series event last month and placed 9th, making her some cash. And we're happy to welcome Julie Moens to the show. That's what happens when we bring people on live. Hey, Julie.
Hi. Sorry.
That's
hey,
okay.
Julie, how are you doing?
Good. Sorry, we were putting the baby to bed, and I was
That's
watching
okay.
the live one. See when it was
Well,
my
that's,
turn.
we forget to warn people that it's usually about a 20-second delay, but sometimes YouTube will stretch out the delay a little longer. So it does catch people by surprise from time to time.
My bad. Sorry about that.
No, that's all good. Makes for some good introductions.
Yeah, I almost actually just fell on my way sprinting in. So
Oh no, we don't
it
want
could have
that
been
to
even
happen.
better.
No, we want people to play well after being on the show. We don't want them to get injured after being on the show.
So first things first, we should congratulate you on being this year's TCO FPO winner.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll even give you a round of applause for that.
Whoa.
So
So-
we did the Foxwood Open this year. So that makes you the third back-to-back winner, because you won
Oh, cool.
TCO last year.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you feel that you're a back-to-back winner?
Pretty good. I mean, yeah, both times I didn't really know what to expect. So yeah, I was really happy to be able to play well this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it make it a little bit easier knowing that you took down the win the first year?
I'm
Kind
not
of-
sure if it made it easier. I feel like maybe it added some pressure, if anything.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it was a different course this year. Last year we played Rose Hill,
Right.
MacArthur, and this year was Logan Lake. But I really like the woods golf, so
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Does that suit your style of play? You're more of a woods golfer than a open park course golfer?
I'm not sure. Like I would say I can throw it pretty far. So if it's open, I would say on the majority of of like our local field, I'm in the top for distance, I would
Right.
say. So open fields are nice in that way, but there's something mentally nice for me about woods. Like everybody gets kicks, everybody gets bad kicks, everybody gets good kicks, and you kind of
Yeah.
you just have to keep plugging away and trying to hold on to.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you make that good shot, when you get it to nice flip up through the woods and miss all the trees and you park it by the basket, it makes it feel a lot more a bit more better, right?
Yeah. There's something special about threading it through all the trees and getting to where you wanted to go. It feels very good.
Yeah, perfect. Well, you're mentioning Copper Ridge there, so we may as well start there with your first round.
Yeah.
So you shot +1
Yeah.
at your first round there. The course starts off, we got some notes here. It starts off with a 415-foot par 5, which there's longer par 4s on the course, but
Yes.
that par 5 just seems to be a bit of a brutal opening hole. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that hole?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting hole. You shoot off the tee. There isn't a mando, but it feels like there's a mando. Like there's two trees with protective kind of coating around them, and you really have to go up through these trees. If you hit one of them, you're kind of just restarting the hole almost. Like you're playing a tough par
Right.
4 from there. And you want to go up, and if you kick left at all, you're OB. So yeah, you kind of want to push up the fairway and then turn directly left and go down. And yeah, it's a tough hole in that it's wooded and you have to push straight and then left. But I will say in my practice round, my first try, I had a 15-foot eagle putt. So
Awesome.
I was very disappointed with my my start for the tournament. We'll just say.
Yeah.
Well,
And we
we-
noticed that with Foxwood Open as well, that the opening hole at Foxwood Open is just a brutal hole to start with. Do you think there's something that the TDs or the course designers are doing to try and, give you a hard time off the first tee?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think it's just where the course starts and it or like I don't think it's intentional, and I actually don't think it's a very difficult hole. Like I would say for our division, I didn't actually look at the scores, but I would guess a lot of pars and a lot of 4s on it.
On the first day, nobody birdied. There was one,
It was
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pars.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
2 bogeys and a double bogey. But yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, we weren't there. We haven't seen the coverage yet. It seems to have improved on the second round. But what was the weather like on the first round?
It was really very windy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, personally, once I get into the woods, I don't always notice the wind that much. That hole, I wasn't noticing the wind. I was just nervous, and I threw my drive really low. And then I actually had I had like a 70-foot approach for the birdie in hole 1 that I threw too short, and then thought I could fix it with a long putt that I putted off a cliff.
no.
So, yeah,
maybe that's a lot to be said for first hole nerves. Maybe it's not so much that the hole is actually that hard. It's just the fact that it's
exactly
the first hole nerves. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
a tough first throw, but it's not a super hard hole. But yeah, it was definitely very windy during our round. Though I will say we got lucky all tournament, the FPO division, because it was windy but not rainy, and then this second day, it was pouring right before our round.
Right.
Stopped when we got to the tee pad and then started pouring the second we walked off 18. So it was very lucky.
Yeah, we just spoke to Carrie Neal, and she said that the whole weekend, wind, rain, sun, snow, pretty much had it all weekend.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, carrying on with that, in the first round, 3 birdies, 3 bogeys for a 916 rated round. So you ended the first round with a 3-shot lead over a 3-way tie. 3 ladies, Amber Chason, Gabby Lee, and Elizabeth DeVries. How do you feel about having the lead after a round going into the second round? Do you like
I mean,
is there more pressure? I mean, obviously everybody likes it because they have a lead. Is there a lot of pressure then? Do you feel more pressure having the lead as opposed to maybe being in second chasing the lead?
Yeah, I like having the lead more than I like chasing. I think I felt a bit of pressure, but on day one, I had felt like I started quite badly. Like I wasn't happy with my first 3 holes, and so yeah, I was like, whoa, I can do so much better, and I really felt like I could play a lot better. So I was I didn't have that much nerves because I kept being like, oh, I could even do way better than that. So I was just excited.
That's
well,
good.
and with that too, Julie, is Gabby was one of those people who was right up there, and we watched the Park Pro coverage from last year, and they had just the final round, and it was you and Gabby going head to head fighting for that last stroke, you fighting to keep it, her fighting to try and catch it up after that first round, and you saw that you guys were close again, where you're like, here we go again.
Oh yeah, always. I mean, anytime Gabby's throwing in the woods, you got to watch out because she has such good control of her discs, and she can she shapes lines really well, and she loves playing in the woods. So yeah, there's no lead that's comfortable on Gabby there. So
well, the thing is, but on top of that, we had her on the show a few weeks ago, and she has to be one of the nicest people that we've ever talked to. So it's probably, although she's trying to beat you at the same time, she's probably just the greatest person to have on your card, is my guess. But
yeah, always positive, always cheerful. I would say I was a little more like subdued. I was having some nerves this tournament, and I was I was quieter for sure, but yeah, Gabby's always nice to be on our card with. She's always positive and always cheering everyone on, and it's never bad having Gabby on the card.
Having her on the card, she wants to beat you all the time, sinking 50-foot putts and all the time doing it with a smile on her face.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, then as you were going on there, then we could go to round 2, and you guys were back at Copper Ridge again. And when you got there, you had that 3-stroke lead, but this time you got the birdie on that first hole, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then a much better probably start to that second round, especially go, okay, now I got a lead. I hit this hole the way I wanted to get it. Maybe not the eagle that you were looking for, but you did get that birdie.
It was a much better start, and I felt and then because hole 1 I got the birdie. Hole 2 is a very birdieable hole, and I just didn't throw it very well. And hole 3 is the water. It's a water carry. You throw out and over the water onto a small island.
Yeah.
And on day 1, I just threw my disc into the water right in front of me. And on day 2, I got into the island. So after those 3 holes, I was feeling pretty good. I was feeling like, just confident that if I kept throwing the way I was, it was going to be a good round.
Right. Yeah. And you did that all the way through the round up until holes 11, 12, and 13, where unfortunately
I got a turkey,
you had a
right?
turkey of bogeys. Yeah.
I started releasing my discs a little bit early, and the first one I scrambled pretty well, and then I missed like a 27-footer just off the cage. And the second one I threw OB, and I had a really, really good scramble to get my bogey. Right. And the third one just was I just turned my disc over a little bit and had a tough spot to get out of, and then I did a decent approach I was still just looking at bogey, but I actually did a bad approach for the bogey, and I ended up with like a 25-foot straight downhill
Right.
Oh,
putt
no.
at the basket, and I got it, but it was actually like, I think I left that hole being like, okay, I can do this, because I still was able to. I didn't double bogey.
Right.
Yes.
And I guess
So-
that's the good part about it, because I was gonna ask you, it's okay to stay mentally focused when you're in the lead and you're parring and you're birdieing, but then when you take a bogey and then on the next hole you take another bogey and then you take another bogey, like do you have to like be mentally strong at that point to say, like, to try and, I don't want to say stem the bleeding sort of thing, but try and get your game back on track again? But I guess if you made a great putt downhill like that, that's your positive, that's your the way back into your right frame of mind, right?
Yeah, I've been working on like trying to frame it like more kindly to myself, I guess, in my mind. So the first bogey, I did a really good approach from where I was, and I missed the putt, and I was kind of bummed about that. And then the second one, like once I was OB, I was like, okay, well, you're OB really short, and then like I got up to the basket in the wind, like I just put it right beside the basket and no putt. So I was like, well, like I keep telling myself, I was like, once you're OB, you did really well. Like you did as well as you could from the OB position. And then the same on the next hole. I was like, well, once you were putting for that bogey from there, like you made you didn't double bogey it. It would have been nice to not bogey, but like each of the holes I kind of did something good.
Yeah.
But then I also will say that on hole 13 there, two friends showed up, and one of them grabbed my bag for me. Nick grabbed my bag for me and started chatting with me, and it was a very nice moment to have someone come grab my bag for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to Jeremy when we were talking to Thomas about mindset, and we mentioned to him about when he was missing putts and all that, how he dealt with it, and he had exactly the same. And it just shows a professional mindset as opposed to our mindset of being amateurs. Is you were positive enough to say, okay, you missed the putt, but at least you were in the position to make the putt, or you always see the positive out of that outcome. So yeah, that's definitely something that me and Jeremy could learn from there for sure.
Yeah, and that's new to me this year. I'm really working on trying to frame things more positively, because
that's the way you stay in the positive mindset.
And Julie, it's rubbing off on your card mates as well, because Elizabeth DeVries is in the chat, and she had said your battle back is a thing of beauty.
Oh, good. I really loved playing with Elizabeth. That was so much fun.
Awesome.
She had, in round one, she had that first hole I bogeyed. She threw it in from about where I was trying to scramble from, maybe a little closer, but about a 200-foot throw in to this kind of raised. It's not a raised basket, but it's got a drop off right behind, and it was so windy. It was incredible. It was a really cool shot.
Wow.
Highlight of my tournament, I would say, watching that.
That's awesome. Not often that the highlight is someone else's shot than your own, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just you love watching anyone do cool things on the course. So
yeah, you win the tournament, and the highlight is somebody else's throw in from 200 foot away. That's So on that second round, 5 birdies, 3 bogeys, 944 rated. So you ended up with 61, 2 under, total of -1 overall. Christy Lee ended up battling back from the chase card with an even round to put her +7 in second place. And then Gabby Lee, as we mentioned, in third, 1 stroke behind with +8. And then Edmonton own Terry Hong, 4th on the card with a +9 as well. So you had 8-shot lead going in after the 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Definitely I will say, a bit more of a comfortable feeling.
Yeah, it was a comfortable lead, but Christy is not someone who's ever just given up just because someone has an 8-stroke lead on her. So it was a good lead, but I'm always nervous about Christy. And I was nervous about Gabby and Christy and Terry, like everybody. So anything can happen.
Yeah. So then that round 3, you head over to Mac Island and you get to play that course. And now Copper Ridge was a little bit new because it's been redesigned and the pros didn't play it last year. But Mac Island is familiar. Were
Yeah.
you ready for that one and you kind of dialed in and knew what you were going to do?
I did. I knew what I wanted to do. But I will say that things didn't start the way I wanted them to start that round.
Yeah.
Um,
So you started off with a bogey, and Gabby and Christy birdied the hole.
Yeah.
So does that, a 2-shot swing there, like you were just mentioning, that you're never really feeling safe, and then when that happens,
Yeah, it didn't feel good. So yeah,
Honesty on the Chain Out podcast.
yeah. I threw my drive OB, and then I committed. Once I'd gone OB, I was pretty close to the tee still, actually, when I went OB, and I just committed to the bogey. I think I could have easily tried to get up for par, but I just told myself that I had the lead and that double bogey was going to feel really silly. And so I played a safe play and just took the bogey. And actually I had shot my second shot before both of them, and then they both put it really close for birdie. So I was a little anxious. But yeah, it was, yeah.
So then on hole 2, you bogey as well. Hole 3, you par. But then right on hole 4, things start to turn around. On round 2, you had a turkey of bogeys, but then on 4, 5, and 6, you bounce back with a turkey of birdies. So it all balances out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the bounce back kind of actually started on hole 3 because I missed the Mando off the tee, and it's by a lot. And then I made a very good or a decent upshot to about like 35-ish feet to the raised pin, and I made that putt. And that was when I was like, oh, okay, like you saved the par, like let's move on, take a deep breath. So yeah, then those 3 birdies in a row felt really good after that.
Yeah.
So then with that part there, so you kind of things get back on track and you have the birdies there. Is that the point where you kind of felt that, okay, if I just play my game, my clean game, I'm good, I'm not worried anymore? Or when did that kind of hit you? Was it after the turkey there?
No, because the next hole I bogeyed and Gabby birdied and Christy parred, and my bogey was a really bad bogey. Like I had an easy birdie up shot, and I put a little long, and then a bad putt and a missed comeback. So like that really rattled me, but I actually really didn't feel comfortable until I think it was hole 16 that I got comfortable, because I played the hole really well, and Gabby and Christy both went OB off the tee, and then it was kind of then it felt okay. But yeah, I never got comfortable.
Well, I was gonna say, Darryl, you know what it sounds like a lot is that, so Darryl and I are in Edmonton. I'm an Oilers hockey fan, right? I'm a fan of the Edmonton Oilers, and it's kind of the same thing. Is they can have a 4-goal lead. I'm not comfortable either, Julie. So yeah. I know what it's like. That's got to be a really big lead before you get comfortable with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the feeling of knowing that I shouldn't, like, there should be no way that you lose an 8-stroke lead going into like on a final round and Mac it's not like a hard course. It's hard to get 18 birdies in a row, but it's not like you should be able to play it safe really well. So yeah, but I think that actually just added pressure to my own brain of being like, oh, it would feel really bad.
Was that ever your game? I can't imagine it would be, but was that ever your game plan? It was to play it safe, or were you always just trying to extend the lead and get every birdie you can because you know how dangerous Gabby and Christy could be?
I'm trying to get every birdie I can, but I wasn't playing very aggressive off the tee. Like there's 2 big downhill shots on the course, and I threw my mid-range off the tee on both of the kind of 400-foot shots just to keep something straight going the direction I wanted. I wasn't playing very aggressively for birdies. I was trying more to just like stay steady in the fairway. Yeah.
That's a good idea. And then you get to the end and you got the win. You get a chance to put another trophy up over your head. Now, what do you do with these trophies now that they're starting to stack up a bit? Do you have a mantle that you're putting them on, or what are you doing with them?
Well, actually, I'm in my bedroom right now. There's a little shelf right beside me here that, my partner has made a little trophy case of my stuff for me there. We used to have it out in the living room, but we changed the shelving up. But yeah,
so have you asked the partner to start building on the additions for the new ones?
Yeah,
that are
I'm
gonna
gonna need extensions. Yeah. He's got to get to work.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned that you played with Terry on the final card there. We reached out to her to ask her what she felt like it was like playing with you. She said that she enjoyed playing with you, but that everyone was pretty focused for that final round, as they should be. But she did say something about hiding your pants at the end for the picture.
Oh my goodness. I was kind of like walking towards the end, and I was wearing like a teal blue shirt and turquoise bright green rain pants and like orange shoes, orange and white shoes. And I was just like, oh, I guess, well, this is me. But
no, that's awesome. And that's what we tried to do. We tried to reach out and just see with the other card mates. So we did talk to Gab, or message with Gabby as well. And she did say that you guys got to play all 3 rounds together. And the one thing she wanted to make sure you knew, she said you were consistent all weekend long with your putts and you were crushing drives. So even though you might have been nervous or something about your card mates, they were nervous about you because they were watching and admiring what you were doing. So good on that as well.
Oh, thanks. I had fun. I got to play with a few people. I did play around with Terry last year. I played the first round with her, so I'd played with her once. But yeah, Elizabeth I'd never played with. Amber I'd never played with. And I got to play with Joe as well. But yeah, it was really cool getting to play with a whole bunch of people I don't play with as often. This weekend. Awesome. I really loved it.
Well, that's what.
We were definitely serious in that, or I was feeling serious mostly because I was just trying to contain my own nerves in that last round.
Well, that's what we heard. I think it was when we talked to Jo Henderson as well, that she had said now that the FPO fields are starting to grow, especially for the A tiers, that's kind of that nice thing that's happening with it, is that now it's not just 4 ladies playing on one card over and over again. You're actually mixing up and getting to meet new people. And are you enjoying that part of the growth of FPO?
Oh, I love it. It's really cool. I actually, when I first started disc golf, I would play in MA2 often, not because I didn't want to play in the women's divisions, but often it was just like there'd be one person in all the tournaments. It would just be the same. And often it was my sisters. So like, so I would just play in other divisions just to play with new people. Because it is the same group of people fairly often, and between rounds, it's the same people. So it's really fun when events like this pull new people in, people from all over.
It's good for the sport all around when we can get more and more people playing.
Yeah.
Darryl, you know what the hot question is, Darryl? And I don't think this was in the notes, but after talking to Carrie Neal, I need to know, Julie, are you one of the amazing karaoke singers that we heard about? That was
no
at the nightly events.
I wasn't. I was staying in Amber's campsite out in Logan Lake, and I didn't make the trek into Kamloops. My brother-in-law Curtis was also staying out there, so we actually went to the pub and played darts after our rounds. I'm a terrible darts player, but had a lot of fun.
I think I know which camp I'd like to be in, Jeremy.
Yes, I do. Darryl knows where I would be and he knows where he'd be, and we wouldn't be at the same place, I don't think.
No,
No,
exactly.
We'd have one darts player and one karaokeer.
Yeah, you betcha. Actually, I recently hosted an impromptu one, so it happens that way, the karaoke side. But
Oh,
being that,
nice.
if you weren't out karaoke and you did play some darts, what was your favorite part about the weekend? What was something that was memorable, aside from, of course, winning and watching that throw-in from Elizabeth as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally for me, it was a cool weekend because it was actually my first weekend ever. Actually, it was my first night as well as my first 3 nights being away from my kid. So,
Oh.
it was a crazy weekend in
A lot
that.
of emotions going on this weekend.
Yeah, missed her, but also was really nice to kind of have some free time. So,
Yeah.
personally, I enjoyed that. But then I also, I got to hang out with people kind of between rounds. I got to chat with Amber a little bit. I've chatted with her a lot online, but not in person as much. I walked with the MPO lead card round 1, and I had a really nice time doing that. Basically, I just got to spend my free time by doing whatever I wanted to do, and I had a great time.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So in that free time that you had, we spoke to Carrie Neal about it. Did you get a chance to check out Rose Hill or the new Dick Hart courses?
No, again, because I was out in Logan Lake, I didn't go back and
Right back to
forth.
Kamloops, yeah.
And I immediately after the round, I only got up there Thursday afternoon, and then immediately after my round on Sunday, I caught the ferry home, or I drove down to the ferry.
Right.
So I didn't do much around there. I wish I had, because I heard really good things about Dick Hart, and I really like Rose Hill.
Yeah.
Well, there may be a chance as well, because you're coming up for nationals. You have that on your schedule, and you've got Falcons Flight, and you've got BC Open.
Yeah.
So we're excited because we're going to be going to Falcons Flight for the first year, and there's so many people like yourself that we're hoping to get a chance to meet. So
cool.
That'll be awesome. And then Carrie did say that Dick Hart is kind of on the way between Kamloops and nationals. So if you've got enough time in your schedule, you can probably stop there on the way.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm really excited for that. I'll probably do that one by myself again.
Nice.
And it'll be I hope to have a little bit of time to explore some courses on the way.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm headed up to Penticton this weekend, and I'm gonna play 3 Blind Mice, and I'm excited for that one as well.
Well, we've heard lots of good things about that course too. I've heard that one is kind of got some elevation and a lot of trees and interesting shots as well.
Yeah. I've never played it at all. I've just heard really good things from everyone.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, maybe Darryl, maybe that will add to your wins, Julie, because we did a little stat mando of our own, and we kind of took all of your career events and we took all of your wins, and you're exactly at 33.33%. 1 out of every 3 events is what you're winning, which is, to me, just amazing, because I think we're just working on our 100% finished events. We don't have any DNFs. I think that's what we've got, right, Darryl?
That's about all.
Hey, that's still impressive.
Yeah.
I'm excited for BC Open. Maybe we can do something special there. But Raptors always gets me these days.
We can imagine that for sure.
We haven't played it yet, but we've heard so many things about that course. It's on our bucket list of Canadian courses to go and play for sure.
It's really special. They've done an amazing job with it. Yeah.
Well, another exciting thing, Darryl, we wanted to talk about was her sponsor as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we know that you're sponsored by Castaplast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to give us a bit of kind of a bit of a background and how that sponsorship goes for you?
Yeah, I've been with them. I think this is my 4th year.
Okay.
4th or 5th. Yeah. So I signed up with them kind of during the pandemic. I switched over from Ultimate Frisbee, and I was enjoying throwing, and I chatted with them, and it's kind of changed over the years a little bit. They used to just have one team, and now they have structured teams. So I'm not on their touring team.
Right.
But they support me. They get me lots of discs, whatever discs I need, I've got, and yeah, some support to get to events, and if I do well at events. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Darryl was expecting you to say lots of bergs, not lots of discs, lots of bergs. Isn't that right,
You know what's
Darryl?
funny is I actually don't throw the berg. I have one, but I don't use it that much. It feels funny in my hand backhand.
That's so funny, because anytime there's a negative comment or a negative meme or anything that's on the internet, I get tagged in them all the time, because I think I have like 9 bergs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about the berg. It's always a berg. And then we finally meet somebody who's actually on Team Casterplast and they don't even throw the berg.
I used to. I have it in my bag. I'll use it sometimes for like flick or forehand up shots.
Yeah.
But I just pull it too hard right. on backhands. So
I think it's a love-hate relationship with that disc.
Yeah, I should go out to a field and just throw it a bunch and I'd probably be fine.
Maybe.
And have you had a chance?
Whatever you've got in your bag right now is working for you. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, but with that, there's been a couple new discs coming out from Castoplast. They had the Nord come out, and then also, is it the Alva as well?
Yeah. So within the last 2 years, they've had the Stig, the Voss, the Kroot, the Alva, and the Nord. And actually my whole bag, I don't throw the Grims at all anymore, really. This tournament off the tee, it was all Kroot or Voss, and I have the Alva, but I haven't put in enough time with it yet for it to be in the bag. But yeah, I really love their new lineup. The discs work for me really well. It's a huge improvement for me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
The Nord might be a little stable for me.
Fair enough.
I used to throw a Grim. It got replaced by, it came in. There was a time where lots of discs came and went from my bag, and I was trying to find the right disc and trying to find, I had to buy a new disc because this one didn't do what I wanted it to do, sort of thing. I had the Grim for a while, but I really like the Cax.
Yes,
Cax
I do.
Is a dead straight flyer for me.
Yeah, I think I have probably 15 of the K1 soft Cax Z's like this, and that's like my favorite disc for it's. I'm sad they're not making them anymore because they're my favorite. I love them.
They're not making them anymore?
Yeah, I think you can still get some.
Okay.
But
So
they've kind of shifted to there's a retooled Cax, and then I think the Stig is their new mid-range. So yeah, not making them anymore.
So what you're telling me is if I see a Cax, I need to buy it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and let us know what weight and what color you're looking for, Julie. We'll keep an eye out, and maybe next time we'll see if we've maybe found one or two for you.
Any of the purple 172 gram purple Caxies, those are my favorite.
All right, you heard it.
But I have plenty.
So Julie, before we let you go, is there any other sponsors that you have or anyone else that you wanted to shout out here before we wrap up?
No other sponsors. And yeah, I mean, this weekend, I think part of what helped my whole positive excitement and joy was I had my partner Anthony at home. He was holding down the fort, and there was kind of a circle of family members and friends coming in to support with the kid, and it was wonderful. And if I was feeling down, I kind of was like, don't waste this. You've got all these people helping you.
Do it for them.
Put a smile on. Enjoy this. And so, just appreciated all the support I had this weekend. And yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get your daily doses of FaceTime maybe too? So you were connected even though you were apart, or?
Yeah, we did a little bit after the round, though it didn't make her that happy to see me on a phone, but not in person. So
right. It made one half of the conversation happy, but not both halves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Perfect.
Well, good luck at the BC Open. we will be doing our fantasy picks again, and I'm sure you're going to be one of the first ones scooped up by our 3 teams as we go into that.
Good.
So, have a great round there, and relax on the island and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I should add to my shout outs that
Sure.
Carrie and Chad just did an amazing job with the event, and the whole Kamloops Disc Golf Club. I know Elizabeth was out there putting tee pads up, and Gabby, and just overall it was a wonderful event, and I really appreciated them running it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got all the sound effects, Julie.
I love it.
Okay. Well, Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again after maybe you win the BC Open.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
There you
Okay.
go. Awesome. Thank you for your time, Julie.
Okay. See ya.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
So many smiles, hey, and just so friendly,
Oh, yeah.
Julie there.
The vibe that I'm getting from everybody is that TCO is a great tournament, great place to be, great, even if you're not playing disc golf, it's just a great place to hang out, go sing in the bar. I wouldn't
play
be there,
some darts.
I would go play some darts.
Yeah.
Did we just give it away? Which one was which?
Oh, I think everybody knew. I don't think there was much of a question. And then literally, I'm telling you the truth, Darryl. I was out at some managers' meetings, and it was getting a little dull. People were starting to go to bed, so I started up an impromptu karaoke party.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, some Sweet
Not one bit.
Caroline, Brown Eyed Girl. I know all the songs to get that going.
There you go. So we spoke to the tournament director for the TCO. We've spoken to the FPO winner for the TCO.
Yeah.
It only seems fitting to go ahead and let's speak to the MPO.
Yes, we need to do that as well.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
or fortunately, it depends how you look at it.
Well, I was going to say, unfortunately, Thomas was busy today. He's running a clinic, but we got a chance to speak to him yesterday.
Yes.
So we did a pre-recorded interview with him. Do you want to do your introduction for Thomas?
Yeah, let me get to that. So we did talk to him once before. So our next guest is the 2024 Tournament Capital Open MPO winner. He's getting familiar with winning Canadian A-tier tournaments, as we just had him on for the Foxwood Open recap. He won that tournament. That was a repeat for him. This one's a three-peat for him. Why don't we welcome Thomas Gilbert to the show?
Oh.
Should I come back?
No, you're good. Yeah, we're doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us. We understand that we'd like to have had you live on the podcast, but we know that you're kind of busy on Wednesday. You're running a clinic.
Yes, yeah, running a clinic out here at Smith Lake Farm. Actually, I just got in yesterday and kind of spent the day relaxing, playing a little bit of disc golf out here, and enjoying the local amenities and scenery and disc golf. So it's been awesome so far.
Yeah, awesome. And it sounds like you've got a good lineup as well. Sophia Donica is there with you as well?
Yep, she's here. She's actually just on the other side of this wall here. She's enjoying the time here as well.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be good. And so right after a tournament, you just finish a big A-tier, and then you're still playing disc golf today. You're not taking any rest or nothing?
Oh, no. I mean, yesterday kind of was my rest day. Did a little bit of disc golf still, went to a field and threw some stuff, and then actually went to Ben Atkinson's house and messed around the tech disc for probably 2 hours. So it was super fun, but yeah, I traveled out to the island yesterday and then got in pretty late to Smith Lake Farm, maybe pretty late, around 11, 12 in the evening.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have a friend who has a tech disc, and he's using it. Do you find, from a professional point of view, that you can take that data and actually work on it and improve things? That data and those numbers mean things to you?
They do. They kind of just confirm my ability to throw a little bit. I would say the things that I'm working on now and trying to refine, I don't quite get to see with the numbers of tech disc, because it's mostly speed, RPM, and then like wobble and like maybe like disc nose angle that
Right.
like you can look at and really observe to try to like tweak and improve upon. And so like for myself, when I'm like averaging like over 70 miles an hour and over like 1500 RPM on a drive, like there's not too much else to work on to try to like get it higher. There's not much need. Like distance or power or spin is not like what's holding me back from becoming like a more consistent, better player that will help like increase my score on the course. So for me, I'm like working more on like timing drills and like different kind of like footwork and body positioning and placement to be able to kind of, and also just like strategy for in disc golf to be able to kind of lower my score, because the spin and speed are something that I got plenty of right now.
Exactly. That's interesting, because that was a question I was just going to ask, because on your Instagram, you had a few of those tutorials, and one of the ones that stuck with me, and it was a good technique, was to put a towel on a table and pull it, and you know if you're rounding, because the towel will hit you in your in your shoulder, sort of thing. Is that something that you actually do? Like, does that help you? Or is that just for more of us amateurs, that's something that we can relate to? That's kind of an instant feedback.
Yeah. So I mean, I use it for sure. Like if I'm kind of feeling like off in my pull through, like if I feel like I'm coming through a bit early or late, like then that's something that I'll use, because like it kind of tells me my arm positioning, and I think it's just a great tool for like amateurs and people to use, because it actually is like a physical feeling that you can tell the difference between one shot and another. Where a lot of times like you kind of just have to rely on like your own body awareness or potentially like a camera and like recording and rewatching footage. But that's like a drill that you can actually get the immediate feedback. And so it's like a super helpful drill for people to try out.
Yeah, absolutely. For anyone who hasn't seen that, go check out Thomas's Instagram. Go back and look at the helpful drills that he's got on there, because they definitely help me.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Thomas, it feels like we had you on very recently, and it kind of is because we did. So we had you on there for the Foxwood Open tournament, where you had won that one this year, and that was a repeat win because you'd won it the year before.
Yes.
And now we've got you on for the TCO because you've won this A tier, except this time it's not a repeat, it's a three-peat. Congratulations on that. That's amazing. You're dominating early this year in Canada.
Yeah, thank you. It feels like amazing to be able to come back to these tournaments year after year, and like have the community of people like at these events. Like Ontario Foxwood's like a big Ontario event that a lot of people will come and gather to play. And then same with TCO here in BC. It's like a really fun event that brings in a lot of the BC locals, and it's really fun to play, and the sense of community out in Kamloops is amazing. My host is Carrie Neal, the tournament director, and she's always like treated me so well out there. And I think like in return, I usually play pretty good at these events as well. So the whole experience is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And with that too, this is the third TCO only. So you are like the only MPO winner of that tournament. So you've got a pretty big mantle on your shoulders these days.
I know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting as the competition gets tougher and tougher each year to try to maintain that single champion status.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we want to do, and we're kind of working on it in these episodes, is break down your rounds a bit, but just kind of get a feel for how the tournament went for you and kind of start on round one. But the one thing that I noticed this year was the courses changed up a bit. So last year it was Rose Hill and Mac Island for you. But this year there's like a whole new redesigned Logan Lake Copper Ridge course. So what did you think about that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I got in on Monday after Beaver State Fling, drove up with the Birdcage basket guys from Portland area because they were showing off their baskets. And so I was actually there pretty early, like earlier than most competitors got there, and was able to go out to Logan Lake and play 3 practice rounds and really kind of get that course dialed in, because it was a new course, new design. They were even doing some of the final kind of like touches as I was there like early on in the week. and but the course played it really good. Like it was a really nice course. It was like kind of up and down this like mountainous terrain, and like a really cool style of disc golf that don't really get to play too much in Ontario or even on tour, for example. So it was really cool to kind of play that style of disc golf, because I think it's quite different and quite entertaining to play as well.
Yeah,
definitely. I had a chance to play Logan Lake last year, and when it was at TCO, because the AMs played it, and it was a whole different type of course. When I was seeing some of the clips from Instagram from some of the players who were out there, there was a big water carry, a whole bunch of different new shots, and I think they changed 18. 18 used to be a big drop down par 3, but they've mixed it up a whole bunch.
Definitely. Yeah, they did a huge redesign. I don't know how many holes are even the same as last year. I know they combined a couple. They put a couple new ones in. The water carry hole is like one of the most significant changes, just to bring the water feature into the actual play. And then as well, I think they changed up a couple tee pads, lengthened and shifted around some baskets to make the course like play a little tougher.
Did you, obviously you were there playing different courses last year, but did you get to play, I mean, have you played the old layout before?
No, I had never played it before this year. So yeah, because Logan Lake's like 35 minutes outside of Kamloops, and and so it never brought me out to that area in years past.
Yeah.
Well, if we talk about that round one, you played a clean front 9. You had 5 pars, 4 birdies. You were, after 9 holes, you were -4, looking good, and all that practice must have paid off. And then Darryl and I noticed that there was 1 bogey on the back 9, and rather than get upset about that, what happened after that?
After that we got to hole 13 and just threw a really solid tee shot, and actually, like on the tee pad, I kind of just like fist pumped myself and was like, okay, sweet, bullseye. And it's a blind hole, and I actually had no idea until I walked like 3/4 way up the hole that I actually aced the hole, and had like the best bounce back of my life to go for the 1 bogey of the round, covered it up with an ace.
That's amazing. And I saw too, it was a 355 footer. What was the kind of the shape of that hole? You said it was blind, but was it like a dog leg left, or what did it look like?
Yeah, it was kind of like up and over this hillside, and the basket was tucked in on the left against the hill, and so it was kind of like just throw like a flat to hyzer shot out there, and I threw actually one of my new like Thomas Gilbert stamped Votums, and just apparently skipped like 5 feet short of the basket, and then nose up, and just the disc like flattened against the chains, and so that's why like we couldn't hear it back from the tee pad.
Right. I was going to ask how you knew it was in the basket. So obviously there was people watching. It wasn't a case you were looking around trying to find your disc, and then like everybody says, if you can't find your disc, check the basket.
Yeah, check the basket. Yeah.
Did you end up? So if you hadn't heard it, did you hear everyone yelling, and did you go run it down, or did you guys just play around and find it there when you got there?
We didn't know that all the spectators or the majority of the spectators were actually up at the tee with us, just like following us with the flow. And so there was only 2 cameramen up near the green, and like they're kind of like focused getting the shot, and so like they didn't really say anything. And there was one other person following along, Colin, but like he was just so stunned about how it went in that like he kind of like didn't really know how to react, and have the immediate like yell, and wasn't sure like if he should yell because of the cameras recording. So it was pretty funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, at least they got it caught on camera then. At least you'll be able to watch it back at some point.
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
When Park Pro gets that coverage out, I'm sure that'll be definitely a highlight. But it was that. Now, I'm sure you've had a ton of aces. Have you had many tournament aces, or was that your first one, or where does that fit in there?
Yeah, I've surprisingly had a good number of tournament aces. I think that might be like the 13th or 14th tournament ace that I've had, which is crazy. So like, I don't know what it is, but I've gotten, I think, like 5 aces on the pro tour, and I remember a couple in Ontario back in the day, and like some reason that I don't know, like aces seem to go in for me on tournament days.
Yeah.
Well,
it's funny because in a tournament, we never pay in. Well, at least for myself, I never pay as an amateur. We never pay into the ace box because I'm always thinking, I'm never running an ace in a tournament. I'm always just trying to get near the basket and go for the birdie, right? So
yeah, exactly.
You're always have a different mindset.
I was almost never an intentional ace, even for myself. Like that one. I mean, when I like threw the shot, like I kind of said to myself, okay, sweet bullseye, because I thought like, okay, nice. I like landed just a little bit short. Should kind of like just skip and check up right by the basket, but I didn't realize. Like, just got a little bit extra height on the skip and was able to go in, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And even in general, like for as far as like ace pots go, I'll usually pay into the ace pot, and especially if it's like you can sign up on Disc Golf Scene as like just an extra check, like give it $5-10, whatever the ace pot is.
Yeah.
Because if I don't hit it, whatever, that's like a donation to the club or whoever like gets an ace. Like, and I think it's always in good fun. So, and then I can make sure I've actually paid in the ace pot if I ever do hit one.
Exactly. You got your old bases covered.
Yeah.
Well, and that ace motivated you through that rest of that round, and you ended up getting 3 more birdies, a bogey, got the ace, and you finished the back 9. And for the round, you had shot a 54, and you were -8, sitting nice, first place going into round 2.
Yeah.
And then now you go into round 2. You got a 2-stroke lead with Miguel Alvarado, a guest who has been on our show, right behind you there. And you're back at Copper Ridge, and then you've got Ryan Watson and Griffin Vester with you. And I see Ryan's been playing for a long time, but Darryl and I aren't as familiar with them. Have you played with any of those 3 before?
Yeah, I played with Miguel before out here in BC. I think he was on TCO coverage or on lead card last year.
Yeah.
And so I had played with him before. I had played with Ryan before. He used to play like back in Ontario a little bit and out here in BC a decent amount. So I had played with him before as well. Griffin was new for me, but it was a great card, and we had a good time like throughout the round. It was a bit of a rough start for some of them, like but we were able to kind of like manage through it and have a good round overall.
Yeah.
Good
round, you say.
Yeah,
hey?
you say you had a good round. You went bogey free on round 2.
Yeah, I had a really like, well, a couple of the other players on my card were having a bit of a struggle to start. I had a really hot start and was able to get 7 birdies on the front 9. And honestly missing some holes that like I was like, oh man, like I could have birdied that too, but that's okay. And just kind of continued to bring that through to the back 9, got 5 more birdies for bogey free 12 under par, which felt really, really nice.
Oh, yeah. We bet it would have felt nice. And that was a 1055 rated round when I checked.
Yes.
Now, where does that rank with your highest rounds? Is that up there, or is that something kind of in the middle area? Or
that's like, I think somewhere between 15 and 20, maybe, for like my top rounds. And I know I have like all my top 10 rounds are like above like 10, like around 1065 or higher. So I don't know what between the 65 and 55, like how many rounds are in that, like in that category.
Right.
When you make so many of those rounds, Jeremy, you stop counting.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not over 1060, I don't even pay attention anymore.
That's one of the rounds that'll drop off eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. We reached out to Miguel, as we said. We reached out to some of your card mates, and he said he was. I mean, obviously he would say this, but he said he was impressed with your power. I mean, I think we're all in awe and impressed with your power as well. But he said it made him smile when there was a 560-foot hole that you tried to park.
Yeah.
And you were kind of annoyed that you didn't park it.
Yeah, there's a couple holes out there that like were reachable par 4s, and I mean it requires a really, really good shot. Like you got to hit your angle and get the right turn and fade and height. And so like there was a couple of them out there that I was trying to do something special and be able to give it a chance for the eagle. And when it kind of threw a little nose up, fade out. Like it's fine. It's still likely a birdie, but I always want to try to do something special for the coverage and the crowd out there.
Especially when you've got that shot in your ability. If you know that you can throw it, and if everything goes right, it's
Is like a lot of these like courses, both like here in BC and also back in Ontario, like there's not as difficult of consequences or as troubling of consequences for messing up the big shot necessarily. Like a lot of the par fours I was going for, there was no really like out of bounds to really get me into trouble. So as long as I hit the initial gap, like I was kind of home free, and I'd be far enough up there that I'd have a putter shot from somewhere, and which is really nice because on tour you're off by a little bit, you're out of bounds, coming back 300 feet of distance, and like now you're throwing three from like maybe halfway. 400 plus feet back of the fairway.
Yeah, they talk about on the Pro Tour making the courses AB proof. I think if you're in Canada, we need to make them TG proof.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So then, Thomas, if we keep moving on, you get into round 3, and by this point, you've extended your lead to 9 strokes. But Luke Levesque had an awesome round 2. He shot a -8, so he got to jump onto lead card with you along with Jonathan Munke, I think, if I've got that right, and then Connell McLeod as well.
Yeah.
And we know Connell because he's a great player out of Calgary. We got to see him down in Lethbridge, so it's good. And I asked him, I said, what did you think about playing with Thomas? So he had said that you were a great mixture of relaxed and intense during the round at the same time.
Yeah, definitely that round. It was, it was a very weird final round for me. It was very like up and down. So I can definitely see how like, I had strung together, I think, like 10 birdies throughout the round. But the tense moments were definitely the 2 double bogeys and a triple bogey to finish it off. Which, just like, kind of got under my skin a little bit, but tried to, maintain my level of cool and be able to refocus and try to capitalize on as many birdie opportunities as I could, even though I had a couple really crazy slip-ups.
Well, further to that, he did say that he really enjoyed chatting with you. And in his words here, he's like, he felt you were a really nice dude. That's how he told it. But then he did say, too, there was an interesting moment, if maybe you remember the exact details of it. He said it was on hole 13. He was throwing a shot from OB, and he was watching his throw. And you yelled, "Watch out!" And the first thing he did was he ducked because he thought a disc was coming at him. But you ended up saving somebody's shot. Yeah, you said that what happened was he instantly ducked, but then you ran at lightning speed and moved his bag just as a roller shot was heading for it. And had the roller hit the bag, it would have likely been out of bounds, but you were able to keep it in bounds with your lightning fast reflexes.
Yes. Yeah, so the roller was coming off of, I think it was hole 16's tee, and we were playing like the opposite direction, and that's the fairway separated the OB line between 13 and 16. And he just heard 4, so he like kind of like ducked away because he thought it was an air shot kind of like coming in for the crowd. And I saw the roller kind of just barely moving along the ground and like just pulled away his bag at the very last second. And his bag was probably like 20 feet into the out of bounds, and so it like just barely missed his bag after I pulled it out of the way, and then went another like 100 feet and then started curling towards the right and curled just barely back in bounds. But if it hit the bag, there's no way it would have deflected 20 feet back to the right and come back in bounds. So luckily saved that guy a stroke by moving the bag.
So while you're talking about saving strokes, I have a rules question for you. So if the disc had hit his bag, Connell would have taken a stroke, right? But if it was in him out of bounds, that wouldn't have counted?
No, so it's so the rule is actually quite interesting. I think it's about intent. So for your card mates, and if you're like a random player on the course, if you put your bag in a random spot and there's no intent of like it being in the way of a shot, then if it accidentally rolls and hits the bag, like that's misintent, and there's no penalty for that.
Okay.
Right.
But however, you are responsible for your own equipment and for your own shot. So if you put your bag like right beside where you're putting and you hit the basket and roll back and hit your own bag, you're responsible for your own equipment, or you're responsible for getting your equipment out of the way.
Right.
If that's the case. So yeah, your own equipment, there's no leeway, but for other players' equipment, it's intent because there's no way you can tell exactly where it's going to go. But if you put like somewhere up the fairway, like where I could potentially throw it, and then it hits your bag, then there's like a bit of like not intent, but like you weren't being considerate of like where you're putting your bag. That can be considered like an obstacle, and then you could get a stroke penalty for that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And we call this section PDGA rules with Thomas.
And the PDGA rules are crazy, but luckily I've learned like throughout all the situations on tour and just kind of like talking through situations with all the guys on tour and like just in tournaments that I play with, like have a decent understanding of most of the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that could potentially happen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and the other thing we should mention is round 3. Then after playing the 2 rounds at Logan Lake, you went over to Mac Island, which you'd be quite familiar with that course from the previous tournaments. And now I don't think for maybe Darryl and I, but I've been told that can be a birdie fest at times. Does that course set up for that?
Yeah, it definitely does. The holes are relatively short and very accessible. They definitely put a lot of teeth on the course with like OB lines that they add in just for the tournament. And as well, they like kind of changed up a couple holes, made a couple island shots. So it definitely plays a lot harder, and you can kind of see that even in the scoring between Logan Lake and Mac Island. Like, I don't think any division necessarily even played it that much better than Logan Lake, which is funny because it's supposed to be the harder course. But with the conditions we had, because it was like a bit of a windy and much rainier round with like slightly cooler, cold conditions, I think it just the OB lines got in the way for a lot of people, and scores can stack up real quickly when there's like OB involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Darryl, that would probably make sense too, because Thomas, you were saying earlier there that you weren't so afraid at Logan Lake because it was just natural OB in most cases or whatever it was.
Yeah.
There. So probably everybody was just ripping, knowing that wherever they landed, they could play a shot from there. But at Mac Island, you don't have that luxury. So after 2 days of throwing whatever you want, now everybody's got to really dial in their shots, eh?
Right. And actually, interestingly enough, another thing that I noticed when I went back and played at Mac Island the final day that I didn't think was going to be a factor, but actually ended up noticing it throughout the round was the elevation difference between MacArthur Island and Logan Lake. Logan Lake, I believe, sits at 3,600 feet in elevation, where Mac Island, I think, only sits around 1,000 feet. So it's over 3 times as elevated. So the stability of the discs were quite a bit different. And so I noticed a lot of my shots like flipping up a lot more or not being quite as like overstable. And I remember like 2 of my shots, I think, like surprised me and leaked out of bounds because I flipped them up like or turned them over too much. And I was like, wow, that's like no way it's doing that. But yeah,
Shouldn't be doing that.
I didn't think about it as much when I was trying to factor in the shots.
Right. Yeah.
For sure. Well, and like, so let's say you go into round 3 there and you've got a pretty healthy lead going, but Luke is trying to challenge you there. And, you know, credit to him. He went on a hot streak. He had 9 birdies in a row from 9 through 17. Did you start to feel any pressure there to keep up with him? Because you got 7 of those 9 as you guys were going there.
Yeah, I guess I actually didn't notice because I knew that, like, I had the big lead, and I knew Luke was obviously playing really well, and he was putting really well too. But I knew I was also playing solid, and 9 strokes is a lot to catch up on. And I think he even said to me, like, on 16, he was trying to get me to throw like a giant Sky Annie turnover to go for the island green on this par 4, and he's like, "Bro, you got 8 strokes. Like, what do you got to lose?" And I was like, "Not much, but I'm going to throw the safe shot, the safe smart shot, and try to get my birdie that way."
Well, and especially too, I don't know if you're a guy who watches scores or not, but at that point there, you're trusting your card mates to have your back on where you're at, right?
Right. Yeah. But no, I wasn't too worried about it. And I have a good idea of like where things are at, like if I need to know the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So we also talked to Luke and asked him about playing with you, and he did say that he remembers being a little funny trying to drop some jokes and stuff, and that he threw like 4 errant backhands and called himself a walking sprinkler system.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of nice too, is when you can. I know it's intense and serious, and you guys are at the pro level, and you're playing for money, and you're competing there. But do you enjoy having a little bit of that lightheartedness on the card?
Oh yeah, I think it makes it a lot more enjoyable for everybody when you can kind of be light, joke around, keep the mood up and on the card, because it can get a lot more difficult to kind of like keep yourself focused if like you kind of have to be to yourself the entire time. So like being able to kind of just socialize and enjoy your time with the card makes the round so much easier and so much like flowing almost if you're enjoying your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talking about the back 9 there, coming right up to last hole 18. That was just a brutal hole for everybody on the card. There was only 5 pars the whole day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hole 18 was a crazy way to finish off the round for our card. I think we had 1 par on it from Connell, I believe. And even that was like, I think he went for it, was kind of heading towards out of bounds, got a nice kick down into the middle of the fairway, and then like had a nice up and down to save the par. And then I think I threw it OB left, Luke threw it OB right, and like oh man, and then I think the other person on my card just didn't get up and down. Jonathan didn't get up and down from his like nice tee shot. But it's a tough hole. Like even on my second shot, I was trying to throw up around the trees, got caught up in the middle a bit, and then hit, and then rolled slow out to the left OB, and then just pitched up for a nice triple to end my round.
Yeah.
But luckily, I had enough of a lead that it wasn't any kind of stress.
Yeah. Was that the way that you were thinking on that? Because there was only 1 6 that someone took on that hole.
Oh yeah, that was me.
That was you, yeah. Was it just because that you knew that you had that much of a lead that?
Oh
no, not that it didn't worry you.
It was a bunch of blunders back to back. But, no, I knew that. Like I definitely was a little bit frustrated to throw such silly shots, even though I could just easily just pitch up, and probably take a par majority of the time. And honestly, if I focused more, I maybe would have done it like I had last year. But it's okay. Like it was all good. It didn't affect the outcome, so there's no reason to make a big fuss about it.
Yeah.
So kind of taking a line from Ted Lasso, did you act like a goldfish after you put that disc in the basket and just forget about everything and then enjoy it? Were you able to just put that aside and enjoy the win?
Maybe not quite as quick as a goldfish, but yeah, by the time everything kind of got wrapped up when we finished off 18, I was able to just enjoy the moment and enjoy the win and the achievement that I had throughout the entire weekend, not just on the last hole. Yeah.
Well, good for you. Congratulations on that for sure.
Thanks. Thank you.
So while you were in Kamloops then, there's been some new changes in that. They weren't able to have Rose Hill in the tournament this year, but they have done a bunch of renos to it. Did you guys get out there for a doubles round or anything? Did you get to see the changes they made?
I did. I went out there on Thursday after some practice. My buddy Chance, who I'm traveling with for these next couple weeks, he was running a glitch World Championship qualifier event at Rose Hill. So I went out there and to say hi, but then also went and like played a little loop of holes just to be able to see kind of like the majority of the changes that they made, and the new baskets, the new tee pads that they put in to really elevate the course to where they want it to for the next couple of years.
So that should make it really good if Carrie's able to Carrie and Chad will be able to incorporate it for next year again.
For sure, yeah. I think the plan in the future, as well, because they're working on another course, Dick Hart, which is a little bit north of Kamloops, and I think the goal is potentially to do Rose Hill and Dick Hart for future TCOs. But I know also Logan Lake is always a great option as well.
Especially with all the work they did out there. Yeah, it would be even better than it was before. So,
have you had a chance to get out to Dick Hart and have a look at it?
No, I had gone there, I think like 2 years ago before they kind of did any of the major cutting, and went out there with Thomas and Carrie and went through like the layout of the course and kind of gave them like my pro feedback on like what sort of challenges, what kind of obstacles are good, what kind of like challenges and fairway sizes are reasonable for like different hole distances and variety of shots that you want to kind of incorporate onto a course. So I do really want to get out there and play it soon. But yeah, I just didn't quite have the time that week to get to it. But I know they also want to try to improve it a little bit more, get a little bit more cleaned up, and I think some more of the tee pads maintained before I'll go out there the next time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, we know you'll be back.
Yeah. You've got a 3-peat. You got to make it a 4-peat now. Is that how you'd call it?
Going. Yeah.
The other thing with that too, if you had the Park Pro boys out there doing the recording and that, they just recently announced, we've been waiting for it, what felt like forever was the announcements of the Canadian Disc Golf Tour. So that's been announced. They've started to put the points up, and they're giving points for every A tier and every B tier. Okay. And then, so when I check the schedule, because I don't know that you've looked yet, but on the scoreboard there, your good buddy and friend of the show, Marty Hendel, he's played some A and B tiers and done quite well. So he was sitting at the top of the leaderboard with 240 points.
Ooh, nice.
And then he didn't really play this weekend, but after your tournament Capital Open, you're at 220. So I think you're in
interesting. Okay.
Tied for second place right now. So
okay, nice. Sweet. Yeah.
And then you'll have BC Open coming up. So you'll have a chance to hopefully get on top of the leaderboard. But we know you play in the US a lot too. So you know, depending on what other people are doing, they might just play more events up in Canada. So that'll be the only thing stopping you, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I know like last year, similar thing with all the events. I think like Casey and like Noah Higgins, Brian Fries were able to play a lot more of the like A tiers, kind of like in throughout Alberta, and even like Winnipeg or Manitoba. There might have been some, and some out east in Maritimes that I wasn't able to go out and play. And I don't actually remember what the standings were at the end of last year, but I'm pretty sure Casey or one of those guys was able to take it down and get the Canadian Tour win.
Yes. Yeah, you are right. Casey took it down on the MPO side, and then Colleen McInnes took it down on the FPO.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
And speaking of Casey, you're going to get your first chance to go up against him at BC Open coming up here. How do you feel about that?
Good. I haven't seen Casey in a while. I think since maybe last year's US, I think. And yeah, I mean, I always love playing with Casey. He's a great guy, has a great game, and always love battling with him. So hopefully we can try to keep it up top of the Canadians at the top of the leaderboard for BC Open and have another Canadian champion.
Yeah.
Well, and Darryl, do you think too, right? It's going to be TG versus Rocket. Would we call it Rocket Bear? Isn't that right? Isn't that the nickname we've got?
Yeah. Rocket Bear is one of the nicknames that some people shout at him. Yeah. Chunk Disc is the other. Obviously, that's his handle on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you mentioned there about keeping the Canadians at the top, because it looks like there's 28 out of the 69 people that are coming up are from the US. Mm-hmm. And you got some, we got some names like Chandler Fry, which is probably a common name for you. Carter Aarons, Scott Withers are coming up as well. So you're going to have some stiff competition, but let's hope, hopefully you can make it a BC sweep.
Yeah, I hope so.
And then I think the last thing we really wanted to touch on with you too there, Thomas, was that making sure this episode will go out just before the weekend, but you've got the Battle at Big Maple that we mentioned last time coming up right away this
Yes.
weekend too, right? And
yeah,
is it
Battle Big Maple happening this weekend in Squamish and Stillwood. Really excited for those. If this is going out tomorrow on Wednesday, you'll still have 2 days to sign up for it in time. I think there's still a few spots left at each one. So if you wanted to come out and have a great time, those are the two locations on Squamish on Saturday and Stillwood on Sunday. So yeah, come out and join. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it is. And if I remember right, one of the things that's kind of unique about this one is that anyone who comes out is going to get an opportunity to throw a hole sometime during the event with you.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to come in and run through the course and play a hole, at least one hole or two potentially with every card that goes out. So that's gonna be a really fun opportunity to kind of show your stuff on a hole that I join you up on, and then as well just a whole bunch of fun things, clinic, meet and greet, some prizes and CTPs, all sorts of fun things like that. So it's gonna be a good time.
Sounds like a fun time. Yeah.
Perfect. So then before we let you go, is there any other things that you want to shout out just before we wrap up?
Yeah, I guess just like the whole Canadian scene for like having such cool events for me to come and participate at, host, be part of. Like that's, I mean, always a highlight of my year is being able to come back and play these Canadian events and really see all the Canadian scene again. Big thanks to ThoughtSpace, obviously, for making me be able to travel and do disc golf full time. Like without their support, I wouldn't be able to do such cool things in the world of disc golf. So big thanks to them, and yeah, just thank you guys for having me on again. It's been a blast talking with you.
Yeah, awesome. And then hopefully after the BC event, we'll get you on a third time as well.
Hopefully, yeah.
And make it a
You'll get sick
three-peat.
and tired of us before you know it. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Thomas, and best of luck at the BC Open. Have a great time at the Battle at Big Maple this weekend as well. And yeah, we look forward to talking to you again.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks, Thomas. We appreciate your time.
Well, Darryl, we had another great show of interviews with Carrie, Julie, Thomas on the show. I'm so glad we were able to fit some time in and get him there. It was pre-recorded, but I enjoyed sitting back and watching it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, very rarely do we sorry, 1 second. Just take off my glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just got to put the right glasses back on again. Here you go.
Get
yeah, very rarely do
going.
we actually get to sit back and, watch the episodes, right?
Yeah. And it was great interacting with the chat a little bit more than we're usually able to as we're trying to interview and do everything else we've got going on.
Yeah, no, it was a great episode. 3 great guests. I mean, and maybe on the back end, it's a bit hard and the logistics of it to get 3 guests and confirm who we're getting and not knowing who we're getting until the event happens. But I like these episodes because we get 3 great, awesome guests to chat.
Yeah, and we get to hear about tournaments that, we weren't at, our listeners weren't at, but you still get the feel almost not that you were there, but a taste of what it was like to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And if that's the way we're feeling, hopefully everybody who's watching or listening gets to feel that way as well. And then hopefully that'll be the encouragement they need to go and sign up for that event next year.
Yeah. And between that, and then I think too, when we've talked about it, the Park Bro Boys are talking about trying to put their episodes out a little quicker, but now you'll just have all these people saying, hey guys, when's the episode coming out? I just heard a little bit more about it. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to point out, you always keep calling them the Park Pro Boys, which they are, but we should shout them out.
Oh,
Matt,
we should.
Lysak, Andre,
Lauder,
and Jesse.
And then Jesse Tamalti. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So the 3 of those guys, their coverage, if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Every A tier I think most of the A tiers that we're covering, except for maybe Larger Than Life, should have a video from last year or the year before. There's a lot of great coverage that they did.
Yeah.
And if you do like great coverage, like the stuff that we're putting out, you're enjoying these interviews, then please do us a favor and subscribe on YouTube. Like us, follow, listen, comment, do all of those things, because to us, that's what really helps push this podcast forward and continues to allow us to get these guests like we are. And we appreciate you guys for that.
I'm gonna shout out something very self-indulgent here, Jeremy.
Are you?
We've never mentioned it before. We kind of hit it, but we've never mentioned it. But if you do like our content, and if you do want to support us, if you go to our Instagram channel, go to our profile. Everybody's profile seems to have a link tree section on their profile. If you click on that link tree, if you scroll right down to the bottom of that link tree, there's an option there that you can support us if you want to. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It'll be up to you to try and find it. If you want to find
may
it,
help
go have a look.
quench our thirst. It may help us out that way. Hey,
there you go. You have to give a little clue, don't you, Jeremy?
I always do.
Yeah.
So,
but we would very much appreciate it if you did go and check it out.
Yeah, everything you guys do for us has got us to this point, and we just can't wait to keep growing and growing with you.
We've got the 250 giveaway coming up, and we're at 189, so we're almost we're getting close. So that'll be coming up soon in a future episode as well.
That's right. And as we get closer and closer, we'll put together more information on that. We'll get some pictures of the items that we've kind of revealed in the past few episodes.
Yeah.
We still have, I think, at least one more item that we're going to reveal soon. So
yeah, we know everybody listening is already subscribed, but if you share the content, if you tell your friends and family about it, go have a, that's the way we're going to get more subscribers. We know everybody's listening is already subscribed. Yes. We want to grow our fan base. We want to grow everything. So
get your family, get your friends, anybody who might want to see some two cool guys talking to disc golf people.
There you go.
So let's move along with the show and let's get to that number one tag update. Darryl, I feel like we're getting to be a broken record on this show when it comes to the number one tag.
I think so.
So last time we talked about it, Riley Douglas had the tag.
Yeah.
Again.
And
then he went out and he was going to play his round, and he played with the president of the Edmonton Disc Golf Association, Mr. Tim Plamondon. He played with Tristan Piska and with Trevor Dell as well. And from what I understand, Tim kept it close the whole round, and he birdied the last hole, that hole number 12. But you know what?
What?
That was good enough to tie Riley.
Oh, and you know what they say about ties?
The tie goes to the runner? No, that's something different. I don't know what that is. That's baseball, I think.
Tie goes to the player?
The tie goes to the player with the tag. So even though Tim put up a good fight and he tied Riley, it doesn't matter. Riley gets to keep that tag. Now he's like calling his shots, and he's saying, I've got my sights set out on Sean Heidebrecht and any other challengers. I know he called out Gabe last week. So
well, Sean, I'm thinking, hasn't Sean won it already? Sean's had the number one, hasn't he?
No, Scott did, but not Sean.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Sean has challenged for it before, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Gabe has challenged for it yet, and Gabe wants it.
So someone get out there and dethrone King Riley. Now, that's not his nickname. That's a nickname I've put on him. But get out there tomorrow or on the weekend or whenever you can, and let's have a new person with the number one tag next week.
Yeah.
So, Darryl, do we want to talk a little bit really quickly about our tournaments on the weekend, or what do you think? We got a long episode going here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody really wants to hear about our tournaments. They were just we can give a 30-second rundown.
All right, I'll give a 30-second rundown, which is going to be almost impossible for me. So maybe it's going to be 2 minutes, but I'll keep it to that.
Go for it.
So
quickly.
I was down at WJ Homestead. It was NADGT.
I forgot what it meant.
National Amateur Disc Golf Tour event. It was a B-tier tournament one day at WJ Homestead. It was a premier event, which that meant that everybody at that event got invited to the Canadian finals, which are going to be down in Lethbridge in August. And the winners of that event are directly invited to Florida, which is the top event for NADGT at the end of the year. A lot of people have to qualify through Houston to get out there. And what the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour, what Kevin King's doing in Canada to help out with it, is that's something to push people up to the pros and to get them some exposure. So I had a great event of that. If you haven't played WJ Homestead, get out there and do it. Had 5 birdies, tons of bogeys, some double bogeys, but I played just above my rating, met a lot of great people down in Calgary area. It was fantastic. Disc golfers everywhere are awesome. So that's my WJ Homestead.
For people that haven't played WJ Homestead, and you tell you always like to talk about iconic holes or signature holes. I wouldn't really call it a signature hole, but you got to tell everybody about the
Oh, yes. Well, there's
version.
there's the two, but what I'm going to say is you get a top of the world shot, which is
Yeah.
hole 4, and I would tell you that's got to be their signature hole. You're on top of it, you throw it out as far as you can, and you have to really target the right, Darryl, because as soon as that thing catches its fade, it starts going right across in front of your face forever and ever. So you need to really have your line correct for that. So that's definitely that. That's the signature hole. And I
Yeah.
guess we've talked about not having a nemesis hole, but hole 3 right before it would be it, because you've got to throw up that same hill.
Yeah.
And on one of my rounds there, my second shot went up the hill and rolled back down to the tee box. So I was shooting 3 from the tee box. I ended up getting out of it with a bogey or a double bogey, and I was happy with that. But that's
Well,
a little bit about Homestead.
you'd mentioned that it has logs actually to try and stop those rollaways, right? Halfway up, and
Yes.
when you're going up the hill to putt out, you take up a couple discs with you because those are the ones that you're going to throw on the way coming down the other side.
Yeah, I love my Zuka cart, but there was no way I was pulling it up that hill. I was hard enough for me to walk up the hill. I didn't even want to be the first one on the card because I needed 2 minutes to recover my breath before I took
Right.
my shot.
Yeah.
So that was
So that was your weekend.
And one other thing about that
Yeah.
during the weekend is, as you guys know, I'm a Limber Pine Cone. I got a chance to go into Limber disc golf for the first time. Met Taylor. Man, when we go down there, you're going to have to check it out. Their shop is amazing. You've got beer on tap in the store. You
Okay,
got discs beside you. You've got knickknacks and other gifts that they've got on sale. You've got an open stage area where they have live music and different types of events. It's like everything you could want with disc golf is kind of paired in there. And I got my gear. I got lots of good stuff. So thanks for Taylor and Luke, and a real special shout out to Alex Penny too for taking me out to Homestead and showing me around. He took half a day off on Friday just to take me out to the course. Nicest guy in the world. Great weekend. I had fun. Tell me about yours.
Sounds like a great setting for a live podcast event, Jeremy.
Ooh, yeah, maybe
Oh,
Taylor. What do you think? You want to have
there you
us
go.
down there to do a podcast at Limber Disc Golf?
There you go. Just putting it out there.
Put
Yeah,
those.
me and Mark, friend of the show, went up to Athabasca to play Rocky Lane Fairway. I've never played it before. We played in the Hidden Gem event. It's for those who haven't played it, it's a disc golf course on a golf course, on a bowl golf course. And it's definitely a different type of course than we're used to playing down here in Edmonton. It's got its good share of wooded holes and open fairway holes, golf course style holes. I have a feeling that I'm better at playing courses blind because when I went up to practice, I shot even and I thought this is an easy course. I can take a couple strokes off easily, but it wasn't so windy. But when we started out on hole 1 or round 1 on Saturday, ended up shooting a plus 12. Not so great. Maybe there was tournament nerves there as well.
Yeah.
Second round in the afternoon, I kind of settled down a bit, kind of found the discs that I needed to pick, shot a plus 3. Great second round, moved me up the leaderboard. Third round, had an okay round, plus 7, I think, plus 8. Ended up tied for 9th overall. Camped up there. They got a great camping area, lots of area to camp. They have a fire pit. They had like what do you call it? Like an accuracy competition. Someone set up a big net. They had an accuracy competition. They had a putting competition in barn that they use for weddings up there. They had a fire pit, but it wasn't active because we had a lot of rain up there on the first night. Played with lots of great guys. Second round and third round had the same card. A couple of the Wolfpack guys, Chad Friesen. Not that he's Wolfpack, but Chad Friesen was on the card.
Yeah.
Brandon Brooks and Jeff Bodie. They were my card mates for the second and third round. Paul Graff, who is from Edmonton, I believe, played with him on the first round, and he ended up taking down the win in the MA40 division. Great
The
event.
Wild Man was in the mix for that too, wasn't he?
Yeah, Wildman was up there as well. I'm not sure exactly what he ended up scoring, but he was up there.
Yeah.
Wally was up there. Gatsky. Lots of Edmonton representatives up there. Gavin Beamish, Dan Dupree's was up there from BR Disc Golf. Lots of people up there, lots of networking, lots of meeting and people and saying, hey, we should do things, give out a lot of stickers. Hopefully we got some subscribers out of it. Anyone that's new to the channel that listens, had a great time playing with everybody up there.
Yeah, and track us down, find us, we'll get you a sticker. We got 2 different ones. We got a blurple, and we'll tell you all about that when we see you, and we got a white one. But yeah, you know what, Darryl, your guys' story, yours and Mark's story about being up there and playing at Rocky Lanes again. I'm really glad I signed up for Wally's, and we'll be able to get up there and play that tournament as well and get out of that course, because Greg has a great course up there in Athabasca.
Yeah. And he now has a disc golf shop up there as well.
Oh, sweet. That's a nice ad.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you need some discs while you're up there, because you're probably going to lose 1 or 2 in either the water or the woods, he's got them for sale.
So here's what I'm going to say, Darryl. We're going to do 2 things now.
Okay.
Chat, whoever's still out there, give us the secret word. Start putting that in the comments. And while you do that, Darryl and I are going to go for a world record fastest pros on tour update. We're going 1 for 1, buddy. I'm going to start.
Go for it.
Okay. Sophia Donica, still on her days off, preparing for the BC Open. She's going to be out at that one, so I'm sure she's going to get picked by us in that next fantasy picks. We did get a chance to chat with her. She was just recently with Thomas there. And we're going to get her on the show, hopefully at some point, once we can arrange a time that works. Done. Your turn.
Max Rajicnik placed 11th at High Country Open at the Caliber course that everyone raves about. He cashed and he tied with Noah Higgins at the event. He's heading to Europe for the Crocall Open in July.
Casey Hannemeyer, Rocket Bear, Chunk Discs was at High Country as well in Caliber. He placed 13th, right behind 11th with Max and Noah tied there. And he's also heading to the BC Open, but he's going to the Key City Throwback Tournament in Cranbrook with Ben Loggins as a warm-up beforehand.
Chantal Bedinsky just won the Chainlink Conservation Series C-Tier in Caledon, Ontario, heading down to the Preserve this weekend. So definitely check her out.
All right. And Kristen Swirls has delivered for us with our first secret word.
RPM.
And it took me a second to think about it, but you know where that came from.
I know where that came from.
Yeah, what was that? That's just Thomas Gilbert, just a nice little easy 1500 RPM on his disc.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he throws a tech disc. Like he knows he's got 1500 RPM. He knows he's got all these big power drives. That's not where he needs his focus.
Yeah.
Glad you were listening, Kristen. Yeah, 1500 RPM. That's the secret word. I'm going to call the chat out again. Nobody commented last week.
Get that one in there, and you can have fun with that one, because I can already think of it. Darryl, when you're having bluegrass and bourbon night, do you listen to your records at 1500 RPM?
There you go. That's good. One thing, while we're talking about the chat, I'll just reiterate it for people that may not have been around in the beginning. Our fantasy episodes, we just did TCO. Brendan at BR Disc Golf has kindly sponsored the fantasy podcast. For every the winner, if they score over 10 points, they get $10 gift card to BR. If they score over 15 points, you'll get a $15 gift card. This event, we're just going to pick somebody random from YouTube subscribers and our Instagram followers. But going forward for the BC Open, we're going to put out the BC Fantasy episode on YouTube, and we're going to put a pinned Instagram post on our Instagram channel with a vote. You're going to click on the vote and vote for your favorite team. If you don't vote for the team, or you don't leave a comment on our YouTube on the fantasy episode, you're not eligible to win. I'll say that again. Leave a comment on the BC Open fantasy episode, or vote on the Instagram pinned post for your chance to win either a $10 or a $15 or possibly even a $20 gift card.
There you go.
Brendan's in the chat, and I don't know if he's agreed to this yet, but
we hope so.
We hope so. 10 points, a $10 gift card. 15 points, $15 gift card. 20 points, which is almost near maximum, a $20 gift card. And just to put it into perspective, Team Tree Love, Mark took down the win this weekend at TCO. He scored 14 points, So somebody from our YouTube subscribers and our Instagram followers will be winning a $10 gift card this week. So thank you,
Nice.
Brendan. Thank you, BR Disc Golf.
Thank you so much, Brendan. So, Darryl, I don't know if I told you,
And he
but
said
back
he's in.
he's in. Perfect. I did get introduced to disc golf back in the 90s, but I didn't really catch on to me that much, right? At that time, I played around in Vancouver, and that was the case. But I think about it now to this day, as in, like, if I was playing regularly disc golf in the 90s in the clothes that I would have been wearing, so I would have been wearing plaid, right?
Right.
I would have had my long hair, my nose ring. This is the look Jeremy had at the time. I would have had my baggy jeans.
I don't have a backward record scratch, but just you had a nose ring?
I had a nose. There's other piercings I had too, but let's just leave it at the nose ring for now.
Okay.
So that was a thing. I had some baggy jeans as well that I would wear. You know, I had my wallet. My wallet was connected to my pants. It was hanging there. The one thing that I think would have been the most interesting thing is no matter what disc I threw at that point, with the way my wallet was set up and connected to my jeans, I would always had, I would have always had, there would have never been a chance that it wouldn't have happened. No. I always would have had a chain out.
Oh, Brendan. Should have said it earlier.
Well, we'll get our music going here. Thanks a lot, guys.
I was just enthralled. I want to get a picture of Jeremy with a nose ring and piercings.
Well, maybe we'll put that up. Maybe that's like a special
thing. Kristen says the same thing. We need pics. Maybe we'll put that out as a post on Instagram.
That'll be a private post for all of our subscribers and listeners.
There you go. Maybe that'll be a Patreon post when we get there. When we get to the point when we have Patreon.
There's some of those pictures I try to keep out of the public eye, but one day we'll bring it out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Next episode, BC Open fantasy episode. Or no, that won't be the next episode.
Next episode will be awesome. And we can't wait for you guys to join us for it.
Awesome.
So
thanks everybody.
Catch you later.